Hey folks, and welcome to TK Power Sports and RVs. Today we're looking at this. This is the Kawasaki Teryx 4S Special Edition. Now in the last couple of years, getting out into the wilderness away from people with your family has become more important than ever, and that's what this machine is all about. So in this video, I'll show you all the features, I'll crawl in the front and the back seats, and then of course we'll hit the trail and see how this thing drives. The model we're looking at today is top of the line. I mentioned this is the special edition. So the first thing you're getting is, well, just the graphics package. You're getting this nice red bush bar here up front. I think it's a sharp looking machine. Why don't you go in the comments and let me know what you think just about the styling. Now the other things that come along with the special edition package are down here. That's a set of 27-inch Maxxis Bighorns, and behind it is a set of Fox 2.0 Performance Series piggyback shocks. Now these do have adjustable threaded preload, which I like. And then the clickers up here for compression have 25 different settings, so you can really dial in your shock performance exactly how you like it. Now, as we roll back, oh, you know what? One thing I should mention before I leave right here. See right up here? That's actually a steel, I'd call it an intrusion plate. And this is something Kawasaki does on all of its models. This is not unique to the special edition, but it's something that was pointed out to me because a lot of side-by-sides still just use plastic right here. And if you're cruising down the trail and you were to hit a big stump or a tree with the branch sticking out, those things can go right through here. So I do appreciate that Kawasaki uses steel in some of these, hard hit areas. So as we roll back, the other things you're gonna notice on the interior are these really nice seats, big, supportive, comfortable seats, and I will climb in just a minute. Now when we get to the back end, you gotta talk about the bed. It's not much of a bed here, to be honest, but it is just enough to bring a cooler, a gas tank, a toolkit, the things you're gonna need for a trail ride. And I think this really suggests the attitude or sort of what this Kawasaki is meant for. The Teryx is all about carrying people first and then just enough stuff to make sure you have a fun day on the trail. Now this bed is actually only rated as well for 250 pounds. Again, it goes to show you just how serious Kawasaki thinks you'll be working with this thing. Now down below, another feature I really like, a full 2-inch hitch receiver. That's appreciated. And the tow rating, and they put it right on the hitch, is 1,300 pounds on this unit. Talking about the back seats, well, let me climb in and show you how I fit. So the engine actually lives right down here in this plastic shroud. Down here at my foot, this does intrude into my space just a little bit, but overall I actually fit pretty dang well back here. Again, I brought my helmet. And I have more headroom in the rear because the roof rakes up like this. So back here, headroom's not an issue. The thing I really love, of course, is this big bar. It's nice and wide, nice and strong. You can hold on here. And then the actual quality of the seats. They're nice and comfortable and squishy. Yeah, this back seat, again, is not just for kids. I could legitimately ride back here. And then the other thing you notice is the stadium seating. So I'm actually sitting up taller than the people in the front, and that's gonna help me see over their helmets, because when you're in the back, you actually wanna see stuff too. So again, as back seats go, this is a good one. Now, thanks to our handy dandy truck ramp, although I guess now it's a side-by-side ramp, we can look underneath this Kawasaki Teryx. And the one thing we always like to do is use our magnet to check what these skid plates are made out of. So let's go right back up here to the nose. You got a little bash plate right there. That guy is steel. The magnet sticks to her. But then immediately behind it, right here, this skid plate is actually plastic. Roll back a little further. And this guy right here, also plastic. And then you get to the middle of the machine, more plastic there, but then back to steel. So it's interesting, it's a mixed materials approach, and I'm thinking that Kawasaki puts the steel into the places it knows are gonna get hard hit, and then the plastic in the spots where it'll just get scraped. And you can actually see, there's a scrape in the plastic right there, didn't really do much damage. In fact, it doesn't look that bad. However, track it back and look at all the scrapes into the steel skid plate. They've exposed bare metal and it's already starting to rust just a tiny bit. So we're always talking about which material is the best, but in this case, just looking at it, the plastic actually seems to make some sense here. And then I guess the other thing I should say, just in general, the whole bottom of this machine is totally sealed up, and I appreciate that as well. There's no part of it that is not covered by some kind of skid plate. Now, as we get further back, that one's steel as well. At the rear end, you're also talking about steel. And then, of course, there's your full-inch, 2-inch hitch receiver. Now, over here, looking at the A-arms, I also appreciate you get these little guards here to protect your CV boots. Although those are just in the back and not actually in the front. And then the other thing you might have noticed is Kawasaki left access to different bolts. Of course, those are going to be for draining differentials and draining your oil. So they didn't forget about the mechanics out there as well. Now let's climb in and I'll show you the interior. First thing I'm going to point out, it's a little thing, but there's only door handles on the exterior of these doors. Once you're inside, you always have to reach over to grab that door handle. Now the other thing I will show you is this driver's seat is adjustable, but not very much. You only get about 2 inches of travel there. I, of course, need it all the way back. So I stand at 6'2", and I fit in here really well. You also have an adjustable steering wheel depending on your height. That is a nice feature. I also brought my helmet because it's important to check the headroom. And I don't have a ton. It's right there, but I do have enough. And if I'm riding down the trail, I think I'll be okay. Although, soon enough, I'll have an answer for you there. Now, the other things in this interior that I like, first of all, this grab handle right here for the passenger. I think that's really well located. I like how the screen up here is sort of angled towards the driver. Of course, that's all the info that I need. And then because we have the special edition, yes, this is a full stereo system down here. So you can actually get FM, AM radio, or you can hook up your phone, of course, to it using Bluetooth, or using USB or auxiliary. They actually have a spot for both of those ports right there too. So that's kind of a nice feature as well, although it doesn't make it any better off-road. So that's enough talking. Why don't we hit the trail now and see how this thing actually climbs. Okay folks, here we are. Time to actually hit the trail and go for a ride. First of all, let's feel the power. I've got it in high. Let's put it in 4-wheel drive for a nice takeoff. Here we go, foot to the floor. Nice! So, power off the line actually feels pretty dang good, and yeah, it gets up and goes. You don't have to wait very long, and you don't have too much of that CVT kind of rubber band feeling where the RPM shoots up and then it takes a minute for the speed to catch up. This is fairly kind of linear progressive power, and I like that. Now, at the low end, it feels good. Once you get up to speed, though, that's where you kind of lose some of that top-end power. Once you're already rolling along at 40 or 50 kilometers an hour, you put your foot into it, you don't get that big kind of hit of power to take you to those crazy speeds. So some other side-by-sides on the market will deliver that. This is not all about wild power, but for what this machine is, it's more than enough. And now, folks, here we are at the deep water section on the hydro line. Now, I've got her down into low range. And let's see how we go here. Oh, tons of power in low range. Let's see what happens with the water. It's not coming in yet. Oh, it's coming in now. It's coming into the footwells big time. Now there are a bunch of drain holes right in the floor. So when I get out of here, the water should rush right back out, but it is pretty deep right now. Let's see how the clearance is coming out here. Oh, there's one rock. And then I got this big monster rock in the middle. Nice, just cleared it. So the clearance was actually pretty good. Coming up and out of that pit, I'm usually hitting some rocks. This Teryx cleared all of them. Now, one of the advantages to having a geared transmission is actually using those gear ratios to your advantage on a hill like this one right here. But of course, this Cowie has low as well. So let's just see how low it is and how it feels. So I've got my foot off the brake and off the gas. This is just the gearing. And that's another thing that has changed. For the longest time, ATVs and side-by-sides had a tendency just to start freewheeling. If you went down a hill like this, it wouldn't actually let that belt stay engaged to let you use the engine braking. That's not the case anymore. Now, like with this Teryx, you put it in low, and even though it's a CVT, it's actually holding the weight nice and slow
coming down this hill. Oof, there's a rock on the skid plate, which was pretty impressive. And then back into the water, put your foot into the gas, and away we go. And yes, the wheel wells did empty out at the top of the hill. They're filling back up now, but it's nice that they have those drain holes down there to quickly evacuate the water. Now I'm still in low range as well, 15, 18, 19. This is 20 kilometers an hour. And that's also a nice thing too, is that even in low, you can still hit some pretty decent speeds. And the power is, again, right there immediately under your foot. So if you want to ride it in low, you can, you just won't get the high speeds, but you'll always get access to that instant torque. So that's really been sort of the slow speed riding, low end power. Let's go ahead and pick up the speeds now, because that's, I really think, what this Teryx is really about. It's about hitting the trail with your family and putting on, 100, 200, 300 kilometers in a day, getting out there and exploring a trail system. So the other thing we got to talk about here is the suspension, because it's updated with this special edition model. We're getting the Fox Performance Series shocks. So I went full stiff, and then I dialed them back 10 clicks out of 25. So basically they're right down the middle right now. And I've got to say that the 10 inches of travel in the front and the rear, it's doing an excellent job. There have been a couple times when I've managed to get it bucking a little bit front to back. And I mean, the wheelbase here is pretty short, less than 90 inches. So if you do hit some whoops, it's not the kind of suspension that will just swallow them up. But for cruising on flat and rutted out trails, I mean, I've been running today at 20, 30, 40K consistently, and it's easy. Now coming around these corners, two things I've noticed. The first one, the center of gravity feels nice and low. I don't know what it is about this machine. It just doesn't feel like it wants to tip over. Even when I get into a corner and hit the throttle, the back end steps out. I am in two-wheel drive because it has all that low end torque. So the back end steps out and the thing just rotates, but I've never felt like it wanted to go over on me, which is another good thing. A few other things I've liked today. First of all, the headlights. These are full LED headlights. And technically there are 4 settings. The inners and the outers both have a half on and a full on. So with 4 different light settings, yeah, it's just nice to have that much light. And then because they're LEDs, you get that nice crystal clear, kind of brilliant white light, and I like that as well. Now so far this has all been from the front seat, so let me at least show you climbing in the back seat so you can see how big it is back there. You know what, folks, I really want to put this back seat to the test, so I'm going to hop in and Dad's going to take me for a short ride so I can really see what it is like back here. So yeah, the whole idea back here is that I can fit in here. Tons of headroom. Here's this bar right in front of me. I got nice grip. It feels good. Yeah, everything else feels great back here. So just trying to boil it down a little bit, this Teryx is really all about getting 4 people out on the trail for a day of fun. And those could be 4 adults. They could be your buddies, not necessarily just your kids, because of how big that back seat is. And then there's enough storage both inside and in the back to bring along all your stuff. So I think they've really nailed it when you look at it from that perspective. Well, folks, we've come to the end of this one. We've got the Teryx back on the trailer, and it's time to take it back. So what is the verdict? Well, I already said it right off the top. More people than ever want to get out and have fun with their whole families, and this Teryx 4 is a great way to do just that. So that's it for this one. Now please go below, let me know what you think of this Kawasaki model and this video in general. As always, while you're down there, don't forget to hit like, hit subscribe, hit join to become a member of our brand new channel, and then come back here to TK Power Sports and RVs to see what we are testing next. See ya.